Hey guys, I just wanted to talk to you about my trip yesterday to Hershey Park. I went for opening day for the general public. I don't have a season pass, only mainly because it's not in my home state, and especially with COVID conditions this year, I don't know what the situation's gonna be. So I didn't want to get the season pass, but so I had to wait till the 3rd. But I just went yesterday on opening day, and my goodness, this park is somehow even better than I remember it being. This park was already an A plus for me, but I'm at the point where I think it might be even better than Cedar Point. I don't even know how that's possible, but I spent the entire day from 10 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and I felt like that wasn't enough. It was just truly amazing. I got 4 rides on Skyrush, 3 rides on Candemonium, 2 rides on Great Bear. I got a ride on Fahrenheit. I got a ride on Lightning Racer. I got a ride on Comet. I got a ride on Trailblazer, and I even got a new credit besides Candemonium. I got my other new credit, Laugh Track, which I had never been on before, so that was pretty cool. Overall, like, it was just one of those days where it's like, it just can't be met. Like, I can't believe I was there. It was at probably around 4 or 5 o'clock, and I turned to my friend and I was like, I'm not even bored yet. Like, I'm still pumped. I still want to go. I still want to do more, you know. And even when they closed, I didn't feel like I had enough time. Usually, you know, any other park, I spend 6 or 7 hours there. I'm like, that was probably enough, you know. I'm starting to feel like I'm ready to go home, but man, I just wanted to keep going, and it was amazing. So one of the minor complaints I had was, I'm obviously nothing to do with Hershey Park, but the weather did get in the way around 7 o'clock. There were thunderstorms in the vicinity, so they had to close down the rides. We were online for Lightning Racer. We were literally the next people to get on the train, and then they gave the announcement, Lightning Racer will be closed due to thunderstorms. Like, ugh. I mean, I had already gotten a ride on Lightning Racer earlier in the day, and it's only Lightning Racer, so, I mean, I wasn't too upset about it, but it was just kind of like, it was just the fact that we were right there, we were the next to go on, which was kind of a bummer. Also a bit of an omen for things to come later. So we ended up going over to Skyrush, because we were like, okay, well, by the time the storms clear up, there's probably only going to be time for, you know, one more ride, maybe 2, but, like, we're like, all right, it's time to head over to Skyrush for, you know, to finish up the night. So I had already gotten 3 rides on Skyrush at this point. So I was okay. Like, if that had to be the end of the day, obviously I wanted to get my night rides on it, but if that had to be the end of the day, I guess I was okay with it. But, so we waited, then right around 8:15, they opened it up again. I'm like, all right, that's awesome, let's go. And I got another ride on it. I got my 4th ride. Just crazy. Like, it was running at full steam. Like, you know the difference between, you know, earlier in the day when it's kind of, I mean, the morning ride was still good, but not fantastic. The afternoon rides were, like, definitely at Skyrush's full level, but this ride was just out of this world. Like, oh my god, like, maybe the craziest ride I've ever even gotten on Skyrush, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta go again. And we got back in line. We were on the train about to go for the 5th time, and then they shut it down, and they let us off. We were literally about to dispatch, and the ride up got the call, and then lifted the restraints, so everybody had to leave the ride. It was a very, very disappointing way to end the day. I mean, we waited the extra half hour till closing, you know, because I think, I mean, that was really my call. I told my friends, I was like, hey, you know, I just gotta stay the extra half hour just in case, but they didn't open back up. But all in all, not too much of a downside. Definitely the day was great. It was fantastic. So I guess I want to talk a little bit about Candemonium specifically. This ride is very interesting, and right when I got off my morning ride, I said, this was exactly what the park needed. Now, that doesn't mean it's a perfect ride. It's not a perfect ride, but it is the perfect fit for the park. It's definitely a bit on the weaker side. You know, it's not intensity. It's not about intensity, but that's why it's a perfect complement to Skyrush. The big problem with Skyrush, as many of you know, is that it's very, very, very intense, and too intense for the general public. And that's why a lot of people don't actually like this ride. So Candemonium is a very smooth, very graceful B&M. It's your typical B&M hypercoaster. It focuses on very graceful floater, and it does it well. There's some really, really good floater airtime on this. But obviously this is not something I personally would consider in my top 10, because I like rides that are definitely on the more aggressive side. And this is not. If you're looking for something intense and something that's going to, like, throw you out of your seat, this is not the ride for you. But if you're looking for a solid B&M hyper, which gives what it's supposed to give, which is floater airtime, this ride definitely does the trick. I guess if I'm going to get into specifics, a minor complaint I have with the ride is that they have 2 trim brakes. One is on one is on the first floater hill coming back after the Hammerhead turnaround. And then the second one is after the S-curve. You go around the helix into that, like, S-curve stall. I don't know what it's called exactly, but right after that it goes into another airtime hill, but there's a trim on that also. I think if they only had one of those 2 trim brakes, that it wouldn't be too bad, but the fact that they have both really kills the ride. The second one just completely ruins the final few elements of the ride. I would, like, if I had a vote, I would say keep the first one, because the first one is on a floater hill, which is followed by a speed hill, so the speed hill kind of makes up for the lost airtime on the floater hill, so it doesn't ruin the pacing too much. But the second trim definitely kills the final, the final portion of the ride, which is, that kind of sucks. So I would hope that they would just get rid of that second trim brake. I really don't think they need it, because the ride isn't really hauling too much at that point anyway, because they already killed a lot of the speed in the first trim. But I don't know if they're gonna look into that. The trims, sometimes they have them running, sometimes they don't. It depends on the day. So maybe I go back and I'll get a lucky ride, and they won't have the trims operating. But overall, I would give Candemonium, I would give it an 8. I think it's definitely my favorite B&M hyper of the 4 that I've ridden. It really does what it's supposed to. I think it's like the only B&M hyper that I've been on that actually does what it's supposed to, which is give you floater airtime. Nitro doesn't really. Apollo's Chariot, I have not been on in a while, but I don't remember it giving a lot of floater, and I hear from reviews that it doesn't give a lot of floater. I was planning on going back to Busch Gardens this year, but it looks like that's probably not going to happen. But when I get back to Busch Gardens eventually, I'll test that out again. And then Intimidator, or Intriminator at Carowinds, as they like to call it, that obviously has its airtime killed by trim hills. So this is really, like, I mean, this is the ride that's supposed to do what it. This is the ride that does what it's supposed to do. So that's why it's my favorite B&M hyper thus far. I am going to be riding Diamondback in a few weeks, so fingers crossed. Who knows? Maybe it could give Candemonium a run for its money. So I guess that's it for this video. I just wanted to. I really had a. I could not stop thinking about my trip yesterday. In the car ride home, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I woke up, I was still thinking about it today. So I really just wanted to get this out there. I do have a review on my trip from last week to Holiday World and Dollywood coming up. So as soon as I get that, I have it all mapped out, but I have to record and add the video. But I do have that planned. So look for a Holiday World and Dollywood review coming up soon. But until then, I hope you guys are enjoying things. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you guys soon.